Hi, everyone. Welcome back into Primetime TV. Great to have you back again with us. Hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. We certainly did, spending it with our family, right, hon?
It was great.
It was really exciting. And if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Barbara Marville Kelly. With me is my partner, not in crime, but in good health and wellness, Dennis Kelly. Welcome back again.
It's good being back.
You know, I think the last time we were here, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that you were here doing the show and we were talking about reaching that pinnacle of significance, not success, significance. And that was really a good show because I really liked talking about how we can be significant in our own lives, but in the lives of others. And that's one reason why we do Primetime. And we want to thank you for giving us your time to watch Primetime. Hopefully you will have some takeaways. I do have a call out, little reaching out there to Kelly Creemans. I brought 2 books in just for you so that you could see these that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. One was The Hidden Messages of Water, and this author was Masaru Emoto, and some of you may remember this, maybe you've already read it, and we were talking about that, so I want to make sure you had a chance to get that book. This is another powerhouse of information. This one is The High Performance Mind, and it's by Anna Wise that we were talking about and fumbling around trying to get that right author name and all. So that's that for you. The reason why I show you these books, because if you were to come to our humble villa, you would find not only the trophy room in our office that's set up quite nicely, but you will also see a plethora of research, books, manuals, training programs that my husband has developed, like Try Neurogenics, that is outlined in this book, because our show wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention his book, which is Where We Live on a Daily Basis. Every single thing in this book, we live. The 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth. And I have to tell you that this really is an amazing book that gives us getting back to simple principles, methods of eating, nutrition, exercise, and there's a lot of people that really need this, including us. We'll always need this. So this is what we live by all the time. I'm not trying to sell you the book. We can sell you it. Call us. We'll get it off to you. But mainly the reason why I'm mentioning this and some of the other books is it leads us into a perfect segue on what we were talking about on the way up here. Is the research we do. And I'm going to turn this over to you because you are the research guru and have been way before I ever met you. And I said, okay, so what is your definition of validated research? Because we don't just come up with willy-nilly things, you know, ideas that we just make up. We do the research, right?
Absolutely.
So when you first started your research, it came from a story. It came from your own story, right? Your dad, losing your dad at a very young age, in his 50s, to a massive heart attack. Caregiving for loved ones, family members, your mom, right? But your research started way back when you were going into the martial arts and all because you wanted to have a healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to turn this over to you because I'm already getting on my own nerves from talking too much. It's true.
Well, what I like to relate it to, I realize that there's a lot of knowledge out there to be had. And I wanted to figure out a way that I could get as much knowledge, practical knowledge that would work, rather than just conjecture. And as a result, I label myself as an eclectic of the eclectics. In other words, going to the people that do the research on the different subjects and gain their knowledge by reading, by going to seminars. It's like putting a puzzle together. No one would ask you to put a puzzle together unless they gave you the picture of the puzzle, right?
Oh, that's strong.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So you have to have a picture. That's when I picture what I want out of my life. I picture what I didn't want. And gave what I wanted meaning by becoming passionate about it. So what it was like, put all the little pieces of the puzzle together, and then eventually I would have the total picture. It was like, wow, this is great, because you can only rely so much on 1 or 2 experts in the different fields. You have to do a lot of the reading and research on your own. So not only did I digest a lot of books and seminars, and not because I wanted to be better than the next person, but the fact that I wanted to be improved on my life where I could help other people get over the things that I had to get over in more of a simplistic way. So by being the eclectic of the eclectics, when I put the puzzle together, it is an easy form of different formulas to be able to be successful. Because the average person doesn't really know what works and what doesn't work. And the thing is, what I did is I would go and study what they did to make them successful. And then I would equate that and put the pieces together of the puzzle. And then one day, there was the picture. Over a period of years, I had part of the picture. And then finally, when the last few years of my life, the picture has been complete. Now it's putting all that focus on the picture and what I can gain from the picture and what I can do to get other people to be able to take advantage of the picture.
You know, that is so well said and well expressed from your heart, which is truly how we live. We live from a heart-empowered lifestyle, day in and day out, and we never falter from that. It did take us a little practice in the very beginning, but I love the way you said that, is putting a puzzle together. So you made the choices of how you wanted to see your life in the future.
Right.
And I know goal setting was one of them, yes?
Very important part. You can't get anywhere unless you set goals and become passionate about those goals. If you are not passionate about anything, you're not going to have anything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Passion is what really delivers the hope and the joy of living a comfortable way. It's the passion leads up to that.
And I couldn't agree more, because that's how we live our lives, is with passion, everything we do. And on that note, when you're talking about putting the pieces together, part of that was in your book, The Tri-Neurogenics. Right. I know that came from prayer. I know that going to your heart and asking God to give you the answers, as we do to this day in prayer. And it's amazing how we get the delivery system from above. And you came up with the 6 steps to the fountain of youth, also known as Tri-Neurogenics, using the mind, body, spirit. And the reason why I'm kind of setting this up with all this information is because we don't have to live a complicated life to live an optimal life of health and wellness. And I'm just kind of going back a little bit for those of you that might be new viewers with us today, so that you can understand where we have come from, where we've been, where we are, and where we would like to see ourselves going. And it does come from the research. And believe me, my husband's book was my first telltale book of research, because I watched him over 20 plus years walk his talk, day in and day out. He does everything that he sees in this, that he says in the book, and I don't do it as well, darn it, but I'm still a work in progress, right? I'm still,
boy, that's for sure.
But one thing that I am is passionate about helping others, as my husband is. And now I'm going to kind of fast forward to where we are today and what we've seen over the last 6 months, the last year, the last 5 years. And tell me if you can relate to this. We've lost family members. We've lost friends. Right now, as we speak, we have a very dear group of wonderful friends that have health challenges. Maybe some of these challenges could have been prevented, maybe not. We don't know. We're not here to make any claims that we can cure you or anything like that. We never do, because we're not allowed to do that. We cannot do that by law. But if we can just share our philosophy and principles of living an optimal way, living from the heart, and giving you the knowledge that we've researched, mainly you. My husband has a book in his hand every single day. It's always a book because it's tangible. It's here. You can highlight it. Are we old-fashioned? Maybe. Do we care? No. Do we get on this for information too? Maybe. Do we believe everything? Not really. But there is a lot of validated information that is out there now today. And I must say, I'm very proud that we are learning the digital age, even though we've been kind of resistant to it. And for those of you that know us, you know that that's a true fact. But I think it's a wonderful way to be able to deliver our messages and how we might be able to help you, help yourself, help your friends. And that's why we're here today, to talk about some things current, up to the minute information that we have been learning. And just to give you a little overview, a couple of years ago, has it been 2 years since you had the melanoma?
Yeah, about that. That's pretty accurate.
If you're a Facebook friend, you didn't know about it, because we don't go on there and blast everything privately going on in our life. We wait until we've overcome it, because it's much more positive to be able to give you hope, to believe that miracles happen, right?
Right, and I don't like the thought of giving a highlight to bad news.
I know.
I like to wait till I can get the highlight of good news.
Exactly.
Because it's like a glass of water, half empty, half full. But as you often said, rather than becoming half full, I want to become the glass.
That's right.
I am the glass.
You are the glass.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely. And that being said, in our show today, I just want to go back to also talking about how many times we have referred to the damaging effects of stress. We talk about energy, we talk about our Tai Chi and Qigong and how that helps us, and how it has truly allowed us to walk our talk, empower, and not only empower our lives, but to master our lives. Every component, every step in this book, we have mastered. And that's why we feel very strongly to be able to share with you, because this book was all done with you researching the researchers, with my husband being an eclectic, so that you know that what we've talked about is valid research. In fact, you know what I didn't bring today was the Harvard book on Tai Chi. Talk about research. Talk about the claims that were made in that book, because they did the clinical research and they were able to do that. So we have a big, thick book, this thick, from Harvard on Tai Chi.
It really gives it a lot of validation.
Yes, and so that validation right there, you know, when we found that, when that book was written, which wasn't too long ago, it just reconfirms that what we've been doing to help reduce our stress, doing Tai Chi, doing Qigong, doing meditation, doing prayer, it all works. And we're pretty good at it, but we do have our moments. We do have our real-life human moments.
There's no such a thing as a perfect situation. Perfection should be a direction, not a goal.
Very good. I love that when you say that.
It's one of my favorites.
And many of you may not know the revelation. I think it's been, a couple of years ago when we sat here and poured our hearts out with a very raw interview with my husband, who is in the process of kicking Parkinson's in the you-know-what.
That's a good way of putting it.
And you are doing it. Being the martial artist,
me.
I thought I'd throw that out there. It was very fitting, right?
And I caught it.
Exactly. You need some water there?
Yeah, I think I'll take a sip.
So that being said, we wanted to talk about some of the things that we are doing, some of the things that my husband has been, the latest book. You have to, if you yourself, if you know of anyone that is dealing with any kind of brain issues or might be, we suggest that you read this book. And you know what? This is hot off the press at the Kelly residence. It's this book called Norman Doidge. He's an MD, author of The Brain That Changes Itself. And I'm going to have to turn this segment over to my husband a little bit, because he knows a lot about the brain. He's discovering things in this book that he never knew before. There's a particular cell that he's still learning about, and like I say, if you want to get this book, let's see, we got this on Amazon, I believe.
Yeah.
So write it down. If you know anyone that has that challenge, again, we're not making any claims here to cure in any way, shape, or form, but knowledge is power. I know that is an overused cliche, but it is so true. My husband's calling out to me. I'm in the kitchen making dinner. Hon, listen to this. Did you know that? And I didn't, and neither did he. And believe me when I tell you, he does research the researchers, because we have this platform that is worldwide. We are known personal figures, and we want to make sure that we maintain our standard of excellence in honesty and be able to share things with you, information with you that you can look up and validate yourself. Do some of your own research. There is so much research out there on us doing our homework to help ourselves with helping us add to maybe a plethora of things that we can do to heal on our own. So I just want you to talk about the brain, because there's another book that you are reading as well about the brain being able to rewire itself.
That's so true. And in the past, the thought was that once the brain cell is dead, it's dead.
Right.
That it can't be rejuvenated. That is so far from the truth. There's been amazing things where people have lost part of their brain in an accident, and then the brain compensates itself for the lost part of the brain, then organizes additional new cells to make up for the brain cells that they no longer could utilize for any information or purpose whatsoever. And when I read that, I thought to myself, you know, there is so much truth to that, because when you go through reading several books or go into researching researchers like we've done, is that you realize that there's a lot of stuff that gets lost in the process. There's so much stuff out there that I call commercial puffing, where it's stuff to get people to read the book or go to the seminar and teach stuff that isn't true, that doesn't have any validation to it. When I do a seminar or do some private coaching, I tell the person, I say, just let me know what you feel about yourself. In other words, what the person's structure is of his thinking. And like the one thing I do, I say, give me an idea, tell me what are the 5 points that make up you. What are the 5 points that make up you? And you can really learn a lot about that, because of the fact that when you tell a person what they actually feel their purpose or what they're doing and what makes up them, it really gets them to think and get their core beliefs to come out in the open. So one thing we discovered, that the brain can keep increasing its proficiency through being able to approach things in a positive manner. And the brain conditions itself when you want information from the brain. It reconditions itself so that if you really get passionate about what you want and there's an excitement, it taps into the brain and gives you the answers that you need. The brain works hand in hand with the heart too. That's a whole other subject. So anyway, when you're talking about the brain, you're talking about something that we only use about 1/10 of.
Yeah, I understand that. That's wild.
Some say you're only using 50% of it. No, it actually is down to about 1/10 of what we have in the brain we actually utilize. 90% we haven't even touched yet.
That's just crazy.
Can you imagine what we'll have when that happens? Unfortunately, we have evolved from a Paleolithic ancestor days, is we have gained so much progression mentally and not caught up with it emotionally. In other words, we've advanced mentally, but our emotions haven't caught up with the mental part.
Bingo! Learning how to manage our emotions.
You have to rewire your brain.
Bingo.
Because we're born negative, because 77% of the people on the earth are negative. The reason we're born negative, it comes back from our Paleolithic ancestor days, that, how do I want to put it, that if they were negative about things, their surroundings, they were surviving more because of the fact they had to be, if they were too optimistic, like for example, they're walking by a bunch of bushes and they would say, well, there's no tiger in the bush, and there isn't a tiger in the bush. Then they would go to the next bush, well, that bush didn't have a tiger, there's no tiger in the bush. And then they go to the bush where there is a tiger, and they say there's no tiger in the bush, and little do they realize that there is, because there's soon lunch for the tiger. So what that oversimplistic combination of things I just mentioned is, if they were optimistic, they're not really being on guard. But unfortunately, in our modern day society, that works against us. We need to switch from being pessimistic to optimistic, and knowing what we learn from evaluating things. I use a step-by-step process. First of all, there's 4 things that I do when I want to do a new project. I become the explorer. I explore every facet of that thing that I want to accomplish. I explore all the innuendos, all the things that go with that. Then go to the next step, I become the artist. So I take all these things that I discovered from being an explorer, and I put them like on a painting, like in a box. I put it like in a puzzle. And then I become the judge, judging these different elements and to see if the painting matches with the other things that I came to the conclusion and research that I did. And then I go to the 4th phase, become the warrior. I pursue that with relentless pursuit. Nothing gets in my way.
Oh boy, that's for sure.
And I don't mean that in a negative way.
No,
I don't become hostile.
I know.
What you do is, when you develop passion, Dennis Waitley said it quite profoundly in his one of the books that he read. I remember the book. I don't remember the book, but I do remember the key part of the book that I got out of it was, when you get passionate about a goal, you really get passionate about a goal. And this is really out on the limb when I get into what I'm about to release. When you get passionate about a goal, 18 to 20 billion brain cells start oscillating at a certain frequency. These brain cells have only one object, and that is to make that goal. They vibrate at abnormal rates, and then what happens is, over a period of time, then that vibration becomes, just like I say so many things, so many times, 3 most important things are: thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. So eventually, that thing that they have becomes a thought that they have becomes a thing when they're passionate. It vibrates at the same rate that you're vibrating. And then that comes to fruition because of that factor. And you better be careful what you dream about and what you think about. Because once you get it, one of the biggest pitfalls of happiness is, if you are going out seeking happiness, it's evasive. And when I get this, I'll be happy.
Right.
That's the biggest lie in the world.
It's true.
It never works out that way.
It's true.
So it all ties into those 4 things: the explorer, the artist, the judge, and the warrior.
I love that. I love when you share that. And that being said, you've done that, maybe not in your entire life, but once you started doing that, you were able to rewire your brain at that time, and that was years ago, and you're still doing it. Because a lot of the things that was in this book about your brain, the brain that changes itself, the brain's way of healing, by an MD, okay? Again, we're not making any claims to cure or anything like that, but if we do the research, some of the things that you have found in here, because my husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, but do you think that he accepted it? He owned it for a split second while he asked God, "Why me? God, why not me? I will lick this, and when I do, I will help a lot of people." And that's why we're here on this platform, to just merely share some of the things that he's been doing for his situation. One of them that you just learned from this book was conscious walking. And if you do conscious walking and you actually focus, that I did that by default, healing the torn meniscus, which I only owned for just a few split seconds after I went down on the dance floor. And when I finally was able to walk again, I didn't know about this conscious walking. My heart is so in tune with my brain that I just thought, well, let me really focus on the walking. I didn't call it conscious walking. I focused on walking and making sure that I walked properly so I wouldn't go down again or twist my knee or have a relapse or anything like that, because this glamour does not do well just sitting down and not moving around. Trust me when I tell you. And so for my husband, he's found this conscious walking for his situation that he's doing quite well with as a result of doing the researching the researchers on systems, principles, how we can change things in our brain, in our being, in our whole entire body. And that's what this next half hour is going to be out, just about sharing a few little options that we can do. And before I close the show, I'm going to reveal something that I learned that I didn't know. Maybe you will know about it, but I'm going to share that just before we close the show. But before we do that, we still have maybe a little less than a half hour to share some of the things that you have been doing. Massive exercising, right?
Yeah, the key, regardless of what challenge you have, and for those who have Parkinson's disease, exercise is your best salvation. Mm-hmm. And very well planned exercise. In other words, not just exercise, but really get with the experts in exercising. Mm-hmm. In my book, I give you a lot of different things and options you can do. But the key thing is that whatever you pick out, it has to be fun. Mm-hmm. You have to really enjoy it, otherwise you're not going to continue with it.
It's true.
Even though there is extensive consequences if you don't do this. Because when I was diagnosed with Parkinson, the first thing I thought of, well, what could be good about this? Because everything that I do, everything that I recommend to the people that I counsel, is what do you have to do to be able to make this viable, to be able to get some good out of it? Where is that silver lining in the dark cloud?
Exactly.
And every dark cloud, there is a silver lining. Just have to realize it. So anytime that something hits like this, say, what's good about this, or what could be good about this? Well, what I said to myself after I got over is saying, God, why me? God, why not me? I started thinking about what could be good about it. Well, by me being able, the warrior that I am, being able to be the one that find it easy to research the researchers, I'll find ways to help people.
And you have.
And I have, because I am not progressing downward, I'm progressing upward in this.
Yes, you are.
I don't believe that I could ever use the word cure. I wouldn't even get close to using that word, because that's not what it's all about. It's in remission. I mean, I still have some of the side effects, occasional, some tremors in the hands, but not to the extent that I would have if I didn't believe this.
And how old are you?
81, going on 82.
Years young.
Absolutely.
Took your 6th World Martial Arts Championship at age 78. That was just a few years ago.
Yeah, why did I do that? I did it so everybody out there with fibromyalgia, with diseases, or just people that are normally healthy want to be healthier, that you have a lot that you can help people. The best gift you can give your loved ones is be a good example.
I so believe that. And I'll tell you, after watching my grandson last Thursday, 11 hours with this little guy. Oh my goodness, I can't even tell you. I think I had a glamour transformation. I took myself to a whole higher new level, but he has been my driving force. Our children, our family, generations to come is our driving force. And there's so much stuff out there that can boggle the mind. And we've been at this for what, hon? We've been together over 20 years. We'll be married 19 years this October, and our mission is really you. Our mission is to try different things and scenarios ourselves and just share that information with you. In other words, there's a news channel that says, we report, you decide. That's kind of like what we do here, is to share some things that we do and see if it works. Maybe you'll want to get a hold of us and tell us what you're doing that works for you. We want to inspire, we want to motivate, we want to empower you. When you watch this show, I want you to have a really good takeaway on something, whether it's a book that we recommended or something that we're doing that we're going to talk about now, which is the Solera line of an amazing adaptogen. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But we bring these things to the table. One of the things that my husband was able to do was, after doing research, he was literally in a black hole of despair, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was scared, and he was scared. And if you saw the Channel 10 piece, you will have seen us both say that we'd each go into in our own power corner and cry, and we would share it with each other. But I knew something was going on. He knew something was going on. I noticed a little bit of the tremor. We'd be on the dance floor and he'd tell me I was offbeat. I wasn't offbeat. Little things like that. And finally, you know, the news came and we thought, well, okay, it is what it is. And we also, I heard on the news just yesterday, I think I said to you that trauma to the head, of course, I mean, that's just common sense, trauma to the head can cause something like Parkinson's and among other things. But you just never know for sure. And you hear all kinds of miracles that happen. And I believe that you really have tapped in to your very own miracle, because I didn't know that we'd be sitting here having a show like this and you being able to deliver so much amazing information. And it's all from long-term memory. This is all from all the seminars that he does. And so we have just in the last, this week, I think, discovered a couple of things. And I mean, this is a real raw show today, because some of the things we're about to share with you, you probably will be able to relate to, or you have a family member that could or should relate to it, and you may be able to take this and say, hey, why don't you try this, okay?
Well, you know, you can live life two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Way number one is you can live life where there is no miracles. Mm-hmm. Or, better than that, you can live life where everything is a miracle.
Thank you. And I saw a quote on Facebook to that. Did you see that there, or was that your own thing? You just
No, I read it, just like anything else.
Yeah, I think I read the same thing. But it's true, and there are miracles that happen all the time. So in this last half hour, we're going to talk a couple of things that we've done recently that we've discovered. Probably about maybe, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, we talked about this new product that we've been taking, and we started in January. And we went off of it purposefully to see what would happen. And we noticed a few things, that happened. We just assume, again, we're not making any claims to cure, diagnose, give you prognosis or anything like that. All we're doing is sharing with ourselves. We started this product as a result of a very dear friend that we've known for well over 20 years told us about it, and we decided to try it. And little did we realize that we forgot that we had taken it in the morning on a Friday morning, remember? And we went to Tai Chi class in Spring Hill, and we taught the class. And after the class, we always ask each other, how you feeling? La, la, la. We both said we felt exceptionally well. Was it this product? Who knows? We don't know. But fast forwarding it today, this is huge for what I felt. And then I also want to share about you eliminating that white powdery substance. And no, I'm not talking about drugs. Sugar might as well be a drug, right?
Well, it's the most addictive thing, even more addictive than cocaine in some ways.
Mm-hmm. And my husband admitted that what did you call yourself, a dessert junkie?
Yeah, I was a dessert junkie, right.
And you've been off sugar now for how many days?
4.
4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so he's going to talk about how he feels there. I'm going to talk about what I've noticed. And this is amazing because it's very warm in Florida right now. I don't do well with the heat. For many, many, many years, when I take our Yorkies out for 5 minutes, oh my, I'd have to go in, throw myself under the fan, full blast, until I would cool down. That's also a similar feeling that we have when we're going through the change of life, which is long gone for me. But I feel like I'm going through a menopause when I'm out in this crazy heat, the humidity. In fact, I'll tell you what it is right now. It was like 89 early today, and the humidity was, what was it, humidity was 89%. First thing this morning, we opened up the front door to go get the newspaper. Yeah, we still read the old-fashioned newspaper. And it just goes whoosh. It's like a steam bed. It's 92 where we are right now. Yeah. And the humidity, where's the humidity? I don't see where the humidity is. Oh, the humidity's dropped down to 56%, but 92 degrees. My threshold when our air conditioner went out, remember, was 82. And I mean, I was just dying. It was just really awful. So in the last week, we wanted to experiment because we didn't want to have another $350, $400 light bill. So we cranked it up to 80. Forgot about it. And I have actually been doing fine with it. When JD, my grandson, came over on Tuesday and Thursday of last week, we were outside playing in his kiddie pool, we were digging in the dirt, we were playing with the hose, and I'm going, what's going on here? Would you say that I was adapting, my body was adapting to the environment?
That's why they call it an adaptogens.
And that's one of the things that I noticed just recently. And that's why I say we research the researchers right up to the minute. This is very up to the minute. And I thought, my goodness, I wonder if women, especially when they're going through that change and they have the hotness, the heat, the sweats, the middle of the night, and you can't sleep. And when you can't sleep, you can't function the next day because your circadian rhythms are off and all that kind of nonsense. So we thought it might be time to come in and talk again about the Solera product. This is a product that is all natural, and if you've ever taken adaptogens, we have in the past, many, many years ago. I couldn't even tell you what the name of it was at that time, but this is different. And I'm going to turn this over to you for a little bit because I know you have a list of things that you can share that has helped you. But give us you gave me a really good rendition on adaptogens on the way up here today. We do that, we talk about, okay, let's, just not rehearse. This is all live and unscripted, but I just wanted to know what your spin was on the definition of adaptogens. So I'm going to turn it over to you, champ.
Well, thank you. One of the things that was brought out about adaptogens is these particular plants, they have been able to survive through the most fantastic setbacks, is ecologically speaking. Mm-hmm. And for example, back years ago in the early 1900s, a meteorite, as they believe it was, crashed in the Siberian part of Russia. And for hundreds of miles, trees were leveled, plants were leveled. There was nothing that was growing in that situation because it just devastated the whole ecology of that area. And there were certain plants that survived that, and they were named adaptogens because when the people brought these plants and ate these plants, they picked up some of the big benefits of these plants, were able to adapt to the circumstances. That's one of the explanations of it. The other explanation is the fact that when you take these plants, not only do you adapt to these situations, but you improve those situations that you're adapting to. And that, to me, is very, very important because there's so many things out there that, like I said, commercial fluffing, that don't really do what they're set out to do or what they're told they can do. But with these plants, and you're taking these plants every day, and especially what's so amazing about this is all you need is 2 teaspoons a day. You don't have to drink 8 ounces or 12 ounces of stuff that you can't stand to swallow. It's very pleasant tasting, and it has really helped me in several things in just a short period of time I've been on this. And I do a lot of other things, but this has come into my life in a way that it's taken me to another level. I have more energy. My tremors are not as bad. My acid reflux challenge that I had is almost gone. And so many other things. And I can't make any claims. I can't promise anybody that they would get the same results because everybody's a little bit different. But I know from my experience being a certified sports nutritionist what is good, what is bad, and what's not so good.
Exactly. Exactly. That's well said. And again, we are not making any claims to cure or diagnose any disease or anything like that. But I have some notes on this, on how to unlock the healing power of adaptogens to achieve optimal health. And that, to me, is a headline. Because if you have the knowledge, if you seek out the knowledge, it gives you the power and it empowers you. And one of the things that I've learned over time, that when I do that, it works well for me. It always works well for me. It allows me to manage my emotions so that I can make the very best decisions. And I have to tell you, everybody is under stress. And the other thing is that we want to differentiate the good cortisol versus the bad cortisol, because we get up on our soapbox and we talk about cortisol and how bad it is for you, how stress is bad for you, but some cortisol is good for you, right?
Right, you have to have some in your system. Otherwise, you're listless, you have no energy, you are more subject to disease. So you need that balance, and this is the only product I've seen, and I've tried everything, researched as much as could possibly be in a person's lifetime, and never come across anything quite like this, to this degree.
Well, the thing is that doing the research and trusting the research, this Solera blend, for one of the things, to help the central nervous system, it helps to enhance intellectual performance, alertness, concentration, learning, and memory. You know, that's one of the things that I've noticed as well. I have a larger awareness about myself. I'm able to think more clearly, at least I feel that. Again, I'm not making any claims. I have no idea if this will do the same for you. The immune system. The immune system is very, very important for us to keep in check so that we can fight off stuff. That nasty stuff, bacteria, all kinds of things. And you know, when we're under a lot of stress, the bad stress, that affects our immune system, does it not?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and if we don't know how, we know how to reduce stress. We're masters at it. But there does come a time where, you know what? Rather than self-medicating, I'd rather take something that is natural. And I have to tell you that for me, I feel like it's regulating my clock, so to speak. I am much more even-keeled, balanced, right?
Well, Solera means balance.
Yeah.
The word Solera is balance.
Yeah, exactly.
And what it does, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but before the thought goes away,
Yeah, I know
what
that.
it does is it takes your cortisol, which is a stress hormone, they call it the death hormone, but like we discussed, you need that. It's the first thing I've ever seen that could balance it like it does. In other words, where it uses the amount of cortisol that you need and discards the amount of cortisol you don't need. It gives you that balance where you are reaching. What happens when you reach that balance, all the neurons in the brain fire at the same time. That is very rare. They call it the zone, getting in the zone. So by taking Solera and, of course, taking care of yourself along with that, you are balancing yourself. You're taking the best of everything and creating a program that suits whatever bothers you, because the adaptogens cause you to send the energy to what's needed.
Yes.
By the cortisol being controlled.
It's almost like it goes in your body. We feel that it just, yeah, like you said, is adapt to the conditions. Now, when we were coming here today and it was warm getting out of the car, it didn't affect me like, you know, tell everybody, how am I with the heat? I mean,
I've never seen such a change in all my life.
And how long? And we've been together 20 years, right?
And you're running to turn the air conditioning down, I'm running to turn it up. That's been going on. That's the only challenge that we've really had to any degree. I mean, we make fun out of it.
We sneak over to the thermostat.
That's right. In other words, they said whoever sets it last.
Yeah, they win.
Right, they win. But now, what's so amazing is I got the temperature even higher than what I've been used to.
Yeah, we have it at 80. 80!
And you weren't in that situation where you were getting agitated or whatever you want to put it.
No.
You handled it. I didn't say anything. I could hardly believe it.
I know. It shocked me too. And the reason why I'm really going on about that is because it's been a big deal in our family. And when my son was with me, you had two of us to deal with.
Yeah, he was like you.
We both go and turn it down. We sneak over, turn it down, and you go back and turn it up. But anyway, it all worked out. But this book here is all of our secrets. This is our company, Defy Aging, Inc. And that's where we become the warriors against disease and stress and anything that we can learn about to pass on to you. Now, this show is going to be, it's recorded, so you'll be able to archive the show, see the show again, and share with your friends. But this whole book is all about the adaptogens and introducing the Solera. I mean, you know, science-based, it's a custom-formulated proprietary blend of 7 adaptogens and 3 additional herbs. Its formulation was studied with numerous clinical studies. This is important for me to share this with you because I'm not making this up. My husband's not making this up. 50 years of scientific research, 3,000 clinical trials, 1,200 scientists, millions of dollars invested. It's completely non-toxic to the human body. I love that. It is a blend of adaptogenic herbs extracted from virgin forests and formulated as a liquid elixir to be taken daily, 2 teaspoons a day. The adaptogens catalyze responses in the body to increase the body's mental and physical performance as well as provide resistance to stressful insults at the cellular level. Anytime we ever hear anything about the cellular level, we lean a little bit forward to learn a little bit more information about it, just like you're doing right now. Because if you look it up on the internet, what happens when you help at the cellular level, even when it comes right down to breathing? When you get more oxygen to the brain, right? You get more oxygen to the cells, that's free. It helps heal, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I've heard you say that many, many, many times. So their effect, excuse me, is to balance and normalize the body's systems, leading to overall homeostasis and health. Can you define homeostasis for us?
Yeah, the ability to bounce back.
Bingo!
If you look at it in a dictionary, ability to bounce back. And the one thing, too, that you didn't mention is that $8 million was spent alone on double-blind studies. I've never had a supplement where there was double-blind studies like this.
That's
and
huge.
that shows what this company's made of.
Yes, yes. The company is called New Yugen, and I have all this information here to talk to you about what are adaptogens. We only have an hour show, and with just a few minutes remaining, but you know, they're talking about stress having been dubbed the health epidemic of the 21st century. You look around you, I mean, take a look at, I mean, in our area alone, the Tampa Bay area, and it's not just here, it's everywhere, this opioid crisis, self-medication, whether it's legal prescription or what have you, it is just absolutely running rampant. And we feel that our mission is to do our homework, to maybe deliver a little bit of optional opportunities for us, and we've never recommended anything for anyone. We don't make claims because everybody does get different results, but what we share is what has helped us, whether it's helped our family, our friends. It's been very emotional watching some of my friends go through what they're going through. And so it's really in my heart to just keep digging. What we went through with my husband, I know it was devastating. I thought it was going to be devastating, but through the power of prayer and miracles, look at my husband today. And I can guarantee you, he wants to fight in the July U.S. Open. And he would if it wasn't for a bum shoulder. That's the next thing we're working on, is getting that fixed.
What makes me feel good is I could if I wanted to.
Absolutely, you could.
I'm not saying I'd win, but I could go through the motions and not look like an old fart.
No, you couldn't. Well, you proved that 3 years ago. You know.
Yeah, and people say, well, what do I contribute to? It's the fact that things that I'm telling everybody now, these are things that accumulated together, as I said, being an eclectic of the eclectics, I was able to get into research that would take me 400 years to do under normal conditions.
It's true. We still have, I would say, probably almost every book that you ever dug up. The only book that I'm missing now is, and we've talked about it, with the Sugar Blues by Gloria Swanson. I don't even know if it's still in print, but that put me, that really put me in research on sugar, and that it's white sugar is actually a poison. That I've come to that conclusion. It from creating inflammation to so many different things, and you decided to stop stealing cookies and stop eating sweets. And you've done that before, but slowly.
Yeah, this isn't the first time I've done that.
No, slowly you we get back into it, okay? Well, we'll just have one cookie. Well, I'll just have 2. And then it's 3.
She even hides them on
I
me.
have to.
You won't have to do that anymore.
I know.
You pick out some really good hiding places.
I know, but you
But
still
you forget where you hid them sometimes.
I know.
Yes, Kimmy, I forgot where I hid those chocolate candies.
Well, I don't eat a lot of sugar, but every once in a while I might want a little half of an oatmeal healthy cookie with my coffee or something like that. But you managed to find everything. And so I said, okay, we're going to take ourselves to a higher level. Okay? I'm going to commit to this. You get to commit to that. Is that a deal?
That's a deal.
That was a deal. So he's been off sugar. I think it's been only 4 days.
Probably 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, that's what I think you said earlier when we were home.
I'd have to look in my journal.
But you can do the research on your own. Go look and see what happens when you eat too much sugar. You know, I mean, if I eat and I just don't eat too much of it, but I can tell a difference. I mean, you know, some people even have heart palpitations from having too much sugar dumped into the system.
Yeah.
It's like system overload.
It sabotages energy.
Yeah, it does.
Because the glycation effect where the sugar can't get into the cells, and it glycates and looks for the nearest protein to attach itself to. That's when problems begin in the body, structurally speaking.
Yes. And my husband was also taking a product up until about a year ago, and you were on that for about 3 years, that actually helped with the glycation, which pulled him out of that black hole. And so now we have been introduced to the Solera by the New Eugen Company, and we want to thank Karen Justice and Rob Whitty out there, and Rena Davis, and our great friends that we've known for, gosh, almost 20 years. And I am so thankful and so grateful that we have this. And if you're interested in it, great, get a hold of us. We're not here to force anything on anyone, but we're here to share what we have found one of the most up-to-date things that we can do for ourselves, and it's easy. And what I love about it, you take the product for 60 days, empty bottle, guaranteed money back. That's what I love. Of course, we have...
They can't lose.
No, you really can't. But you know what? I think time, you've probably heard me say it before, time is our most valuable commodity. How we spend our time, our quality time, is so important. And it's funny because I never thought along these lines when I hit 50 or when I hit 60. But in the last 5 years and when I hit 70, and you can probably attest to this too, you start kind of, you look at things maybe a little bit different. Not that I never had an appreciation for life, but the whole mortality thing comes into play. And I know there's a lot of baby boomers who are trying to get their health back. We've taken care of our parents, right?
Oh, yeah.
For whatever reason, whether they made good, bad, or indifferent decisions on how they take care of themselves, both our moms said if they were going to live that long, they would have taken better care of themselves.
That's true.
Well, we're there. We're living longer. We're working longer. I can still run circles out of over my grandson even today, and he's going on 6, and believe me, he keeps me busy. I did this thing with my torn meniscus, then broke the arm. Look at this, guys. Yeah, because I did my own research. I followed my heart. My heart told me what to do. I had a great husband. I wouldn't even call him a caregiver while I was barking orders to you. Many of you know that. And, you know, it's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. And families, when they can come together and agree to have a healthier lifestyle, it works so well for everyone because we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and keep in mind the simplest things sometimes are the best. For example, the 3 biggest, most important words in the English language are thoughts are things.
Oh boy, isn't that the truth?
Just keep that in mind. Thoughts are things. So when you think about something, it's going to be a thing and you better enjoy that thing or, you know, stick with you for a long time. In other words, sometimes what you want and what you hope for, once you got it, you don't want it anymore. Success is getting something you want. Happiness is wanting what you get.
Boys, that is very profound. It really is. We have maybe about 5 minutes left, so we're going to be winding down this hour. Actually, 2 minutes, I'm being told. I have poor sense of direction, and I guess a poor sense of timing too, right, John?
You were saving some for the end.
Oh, yes. I can't tell a lot about it, but if I told you that there might be a way for you to detect possible markers for the C word, that stands for cancer, or interaction with drugs and how it affects your progress in health and optimal health, would you be interested in something like that? Because I'm doing the research and my husband's doing the research on finding out more about that. You can always email me at barbaramarville1@gmail.com or denniskellymastery@gmail.com, or you can text me at 727-798-8081. You want to know anything about the Solera product? If you want to know anything about the 6 steps to the fountain of youth, we can share my husband's program, Try Neurogenics, which we both live on a daily basis. And when my husband doesn't steal cookies, it's always a good thing.
Those days are gone.
Those days are gone. We're going to have you join us and watch the progress here. So it's all good. We're doing a few other things that we're testing out for us all, and we'll share that with you. And anything else, Champ?
No, you covered it very well.
Yeah. So we just want to just share as much as we possibly can with you guys. And you have a wonderful day. We'll see you next Monday.